Did I just knock the ring off the thing here? Oh. I can see there's 11 guys washing. Oh no, I found it. I thought I'd ask if you saw me knock it off, but I found it. Thank the Lord for that. It's alright, I sorted it, James, thank you. I thought I'd lost the ring, but I bet. Thank you, though. Hi, Jeff. Good to see you. Difference between the old drill bit and the new. Look at that one, which is not very circular, and that one which is perfect circle. Oh, twit. Drilled it, but I didn't face off the edge. No offense to anybody, but I'm going to put the radio on because I'm not talking much. I'm busy working. Alexa, LBC radio.
LBC London from Global Phone.
Why do you keep saying moles that way? I think I'm missing an in joke. You won't be the only one. I say moles in the way that the word holes is said on Hunky Dory album by David Bowie, but I appreciate doing it with holes is esoteric enough without extending it to moles and expecting anybody else to understand what is going on. 24 minutes after 12 is the time. Jake's in Croydon. Jake, question or answer?
I've got a question, please, Jake.
Carry on, Jake.
So, why do bubbles not pop and mirrors?
Pardon?
I know, I was just as perplexed.
Well, as in children's blowing bubbles, and then they hit a mirror, they don't pop.
Yeah,
What do they do?
last night, and they just bob off and then find somewhere else to go and pop themselves.
Is this true? Does anyone reckon? Can I just? I mean,
Oh dear.
what? Really? What? All of them? I mean,
Yeah, we did a fair test. We did a whole tube of them, and each bubble just bounced off and hit us or the couch or.
and then it would pop if it hit you, or is it? What about walls? Were they all right with walls? Might have something to do with the
Yeah,
smoothness.
yeah.
Might be the smoothness of the mirror, Jake. You know, because it's smoother than a wall, isn't it? A wall is going to be plastered and painted. It's going to have a texture on it, whereas a mirror. What about windows? Did you try windows?
No, I didn't actually. It's a good question. But,
It is, isn't it?
I think they might have seen themselves and got a bit scared. and jumped away.
All right. I mean, working on the generous premise that what you're describing is scientifically sound, I will add
Yeah.
to the question: why don't bubbles burst on mirrors?
Yeah, thank you.
No, thank you, Jake. We should do our best to find out for you and yours. Jan's in Bratislava in Slovakia. Jan, question or answer?
Hi James, there's a question.
Carry on.
How did clapping become the most important way of showing appreciation for a performance? I was at Dua Lipa's gig in Vienna on Monday,
Oh, yes.
and I was clapping, and I was thinking like, why do we clap to show
Oh, no, I've
appreciation?
ruined it for you now. Mystery Hour's ruined it. Your simple enjoyment of a Dua Lipa gig has been ruined by the thought of a funny thought entering your head and you thinking, oh, I must ask Mystery Hour. I must
That's
think-
right, yes.
I love it. I've got some good news and some bad news for you.
Go ahead.
The good news is I will put your question on the board, as you would expect, because it's a very good question. The bad news is that you are, I think, according to the terms and conditions at lbc.co.uk, I don't think you're eligible to win the Mystery Hour board game by dint of not being in the United Kingdom.
You can send it to a friend of mine. And we'll have to take it from them.
Thank you, John. 26 minutes after 12. We have the cleverest contributors, don't we, on this programme? This is getting ridiculous. Paul is also in Kidderminster. I wonder, Paul, do you reckon one day I might be able to do a whole show consisting entirely of contributors from Kidderminster?
I think you probably could actually, James.
And how good would that show be? I mean, my goodness,
would, yeah.
my goodness. Question or answer?
Question.
Carry on. Yes.
Okay, so you've got a frying pan, you put oil in the frying pan. If you left that frying pan, eventually it would spit and it would get hot and it would smoke.
Yeah.
But if you put a sausage in there and a piece of bacon, it doesn't set on fire.
Are you-
So how does the oil know that there's food in the pan?
What? If you left it, you mean
If you get an empty...
No, I know. I understand all the words that you used, Paul. I don't need any.
Yeah.
I don't need, I'm just a bit confused about
Someone is at the front door.
because oil, and it's hot.
Animal.
And if you, I mean, it will stick when you put a sausage in it. Still, it doesn't.
Oh, it will spit. It'll spit.
But you think that if it's got
It's
food in it, it won't actually catch fire
Yeah.
ever.
Yeah. I don't know about ever, but like, if you leave a pan on and you walk away for a couple of minutes, the kitchen's full of smoke,
Yeah.
and spitting, and there's, you need a wet.
Oh, I see.
heat
So
towel.
why? Well, isn't that just because the food lowers the temperature of the fat? You're putting in a sausage and a piece of bacon that's at the very least at room temperature, probably refrigerated, so it lowers the temperature of the fat for a while, quite a long while, long enough to cook it, because it's not going to be as fat as it was, hot as it was before, until the sausage is as hot as the fat when the cooking is completed. So if you left it for 20 minutes, it would be just as bad as if you'd never put the food in the first place, wouldn't it?
Maybe. I don't know how a sausage or a piece of bacon can lower the temperature of the fat unless it's got a lot of water content.
By being less hot than the fat.
Okay.
It's like you getting into the bath, Paul. The minute you get into the bath, the temperature of the bath starts falling because of your body absorbing some of the heat from the bath into your body.
I'm
I don't know. Listen, mate. It's quite often when I get on my high horse like this, I'm the one that ends up.
Alexa,
sounding
stop.
stupid 'cause-
Hey Mike, how you doing? Let's turn it over. The dust on the front facing camera is really bad. Check my email, will do. Right, Postle's just been, and this is from Smoking Pipes. No customs. This is the espresso tobacco they just brought out. I think it has some cigar leaf in there. I've never really yet found a cigar leaf that really contributes cigar flavors. I don't think it's intended to. It's just to give it some body. But so far so good with smokingpipes.com. When you make small orders, most times it gets through. Maybe it's from America, they're a bit easier, I don't know. Because whenever I get a package from Germany, it gets stopped every single time. Unless you pay the VAT. So this is from Germany, it's a pipe. Actually, what is it? Oh no, it's not from Germany, that's from Denmark. So we have the warped C&D. Is C&D, is it? That makes it. Well, Jeremy Reeves and Carl Gellis. So yeah. So that's the Saint Espresso. 2 tins. I'm going to pop one of them, try some of it, and I'm going to send some around as well. To some guys here in the UK who probably won't get hold of it otherwise. Get a little sticker from the Danish pipe shop. And I've got a collection of these pipes. These are little sweets, licorices, but I don't eat them, they're not kosher, so I've got a little pile of them. And I put them into packages every so often that I send out. And you always get, if you buy a pipe, you get some basics about pipe smoking, in case it's your first pipe. So this is an estate pipe. Ooh, you can get some freebie filters. I don't usually do that. So this is a Stanwell sandblasted calabash. And this one is stamped Eco, which is presumably economy. For some reason they felt it wasn't top grade. Maybe the blast wasn't so good, I don't know. But it looks pretty good to me. Drill looks to be okay as well. Silver band. So we'll see if this is one that I keep or if I put this one up for sale at some point. But that's a nice looking pipe. Alright James, I hear you, I hear you. I hear you across the Atlantic. Still in the middle of your pipe. It's exploded a little bit overnight, but it's still tasting good. How you doing, Jack? Pretty good ring grain on that. Nice and lightweight. Craggy sandblast in places. I'll have to give it a clean out and try it out. So you guys saw the calabash style, or mushroom if you want to call it that. It's a pipe I was working on yesterday. I stained it overnight and just restaining part of it. But this is where I'm up to on it. So I restained it this morning. I'm going to buff it up again a little bit later on. I'm just looking at the picture, Mike. Thank you for sending that along. What brand is that horn? It looks tiny. I'm trying to sort of measure it up against the keys on the keyboard. A Group 4. It looks really, really slim. Obviously, I can't do my shank stem junction as slim as that, given that I'm doing 9mm. I kind of considered not doing it 9mm, but in the end I went for 9mm. So, and I'm probably going to do paneled sides as well, because that kind of hides a little bit of that thickness. The stem shank junction. In which respect? In respect of the taper? How it flows and continues? Is that what you mean? Or do you mean the side paneling? Because because I'm actually not shaping the shank or the stem or anything on the lathe. I'm literally just drilling the holes, and the rest of it I'm doing by hand. The good thing about a hornpipe is that it's all open. The shape is an open shape, so you can spend your time and do it on the shaping wheel. You can actually get to a very advanced point on the shaping wheel because there's no real nooks and crannies like in some pipes. So it does make it easier. So to give you an example, even this pipe here, never mind the one I just made, I'm making the calabash, but this one here, if you imagine you're on the sanding wheel and you're trying to sand this bit or this bit, you've got this area here is going to catch on the sanding wheel. So it makes it really hard. So you have to do that by hand. And you can see there, that shaping is not, you can see a very, very slight bulge there. Don't know if you can see that. But the line is not absolutely a smooth curve. It kind of flattens out and then it goes into the curve there. See, if you look on this side, there's a very, very steady taper down, and that's a consistent taper. Whereas on that side, it's not consistent. And that's really hard to do on the shaping wheel, so you have to do a lot of it by hand, which then makes it harder to get a consistent shape. But it's just the way it is. I've still got the Sarah Eltang pipe, which I haven't touched yet. Still have to consider whether I mess around with it or not. So it's actually quite slender. So for me to get this, I'd have to, consider making it a 6mm. I think that the 6mm would fit in there okay. It's just this bit here. Where am I 6mm? Hey Steve and Kathy, hope you're well. Is that still Kathy? This is a Sarah Eltang. It's an Eltang pipe, which it's named after. It's a series which he names after his daughter Sarah, and these are produced by his workshop and finished by him. Sometimes they're made completely by him, depending on who's in his shop. He has apprentices all the time there. People who are training up, so they generally will make the Sarah Eltang pipes, but sometimes he makes them all. But either way, he finishes all of them. So you get a certain standard for sure. I took it came up as an estate pipe on the Danish pipe shop, and I took a bit of a gamble to see if it's something that I could convert. If there's too much of a risk of ruining it, I'll just pass it on. Or I'll get, I don't know, maybe I'll trade it. We'll see. Yeah, he is one of the guys in there, and there's also, what's his name? I don't know if that's him or not. Kent Rasmussen's grandson as well, isn't it? Also works there. And Julie's grandson, possibly. What's the issue you're having with your drill bit, Jack? Yeah, I forgot about that, Mike. Is that still happening? Are you going to Italy? Still on the cards? Right, I think we can go back to the lathe. Oh, good luck with that, Jack. That's very brave. Good luck with that. That's a step in the right direction for getting the best out of the grain for sure. I haven't taken that leap of faith yet. like those Kahuna tampers. I haven't seen them on your site yet, but I remember reading an article in the Pipe and Tobacco magazine a while back. Showing some of his creations. And they do look really nice. It just shows, you know, you can sort of work out a reputation in anything if you just keep at it and you do it well, obviously. You know, to make a living out of tampers, I think that's quite an achievement. Now, I don't know if he makes a full-time living out of that, I've got no idea. But I just think it's impressive. I'm waiting on some tools for the metal lathe. The metal lathe came with a set of tools, but they're really very poor quality. I spoke to the company because I really wasn't happy with the results, and it seemed to be out of line. And I didn't want to make any judgments before I used some decent tools. So what I've actually done is I've ordered some blanks, some square section blanks, HSS steel, and I'm gonna grind them down to a shape that I want, you know, similar to what I use on my wood lathe, and then I'll try again and see if maybe it's just the size of the tools that were included were not quite precise enough. But at the moment it's not quite central. So if you have a look there, it leaves a little button in the middle. You see, it doesn't fully turn. It comes out just below, so it's not quite lined up with the center of the chuck. So that's something to just check if it's just the tooling, or we shall see. The advantages of a metal lathe, well, number one, I can turn metal, so it'd be nice to be able to make some of my own bands. But it also means that I can, you know, making these kind of bands, although I've, you know, developed my own skill in preparing all of these, it's not really a problem anymore. But some things are still, I mean, for instance, especially with long drilling, that's going to be 100 times more accurate on a metal. I don't know about 100 times, but it's going to be more accurate on a metal lathe. Turning down stems, turning down shanks, it's all going to be much more precise, because essentially you're just literally going in two axes. You're going X and Y, and there's nowhere else to go. So it's like an Etch-a-Sketch, you know. So in order to get a bend, you learn to do both at the same time. But essentially, it only goes in straight lines in those two directions. So when you're turning down a shank, as long as you've lined it upright, you're going to get a perfectly straight shank. So that's an advantage. But making rings and bands and that, which should be, you know, once you get used to using the metal lathe, should be a lot quicker. Yeah, essentially. In terms of the actual shaping the bowl and that kind of thing, I don't know yet until I really get used to using the metal lathe, but my gut instinct is that I'll still do that on the wood lathe. But I don't know. I have to be honest and say that I don't know, because I've not really used the metal lathe. And, you know, if you look at hundreds of other pipe makers, they all use metal lathes. So obviously it's very, very doable just with a metal lathe. Accurate results in terms of the straightness of things, not having to rely on repeated sanding and to get those lines out of them. But certainly a metal lathe will give you more accuracy in straight lines. The things that you want to do straight, the metal lathe will give you more accuracy for sure. I think so anyway. Might be wrong, we'll find out. We're always up to learn. Especially straight lines, Jack. Especially straight lines. Actually, I think I will turn this first bit. Get See, what I'm doing now is essentially mimicking what a metal lathe would do. You're going along the length like that. So with a metal lathe, that would be a lot more straightforward. So essentially that's going to be an oval, but it's good to be in the round as a starting point. So I just wanted to do that. So hopefully it'll be an oval with panelled sides. That's what I'm aiming for. If we don't mess it up, all being well. I'll show you in a minute. I'll show you the lathe in a second. I'll show you how it works. I have made a few horns before, yeah. I have to adjust this because I can't afford to have a keyhole on this because Hi, Josh. get nervous, especially this kind of shape. Phew. That's cool. All right, good timing. That delivery just came, so I've got those blanks for the metal lathe. So perhaps we'll do that soon. That's cool. I think I do need to start off the rim, get that round, just the first ½ inch or so. All right, that's as much as I want to do. So a couple more bandsaw blades. So I think I've got now, they sent me 2 replacements today for the one that was faulty. Plus I ordered another 2, so that's another 4. I think I've got 6 now in stock. Those are the blanks, so I'll get those out in a minute. And I bought some gloves to go with that. So these are 5/16 by 4 inches, which is basically 8mm, and this is an 8mm lathe. So you've got the square section, and essentially you grind it down to whatever shape you want. 7.83mm. Okay. Right, hopefully that will be okay. I bought 2 of them just in case I want to do a couple of different shapes on the tools. So let me show you the lathe. So these are the tools that came with it. Very, very basic, rudimentary tools. I suppose I could sharpen them up as well and they'd be better. But essentially, you have this is called a slide. You put your tools in the tool thing there, and it goes left and right, and then in and out. So you have your lathe, you have your bit of material there, and you're literally just trimming it this way and that way. That's all. Like I said, you could do both at the same time to get angles and curves and things like that with a bit of experience and practice. But initially certainly my main reason for getting it was for ease of use with facing off shanks, although it's not imperative for that. But certainly rings, stems, shanks, drilling straight lines. For me, that's what this was all about. So I'm going to give it a try with those tools, and they may well be sacrificial if I end up sending this machine back. It could well be that if this machine doesn't work out, and I've already spoken to the company, they've already said that they would take it back, which is, you know, I'm very, very impressed with that customer service. It could well be that at a later date, when I'm able to save up enough money, that I will get a much higher end machine, and I think that would make a big difference. Because it's such a small machine, it's a mini metal lathe, you know, cogs and wheels are very close together. So, you know, I can see that being a bit of an issue as well. But we shall see. I can't really comment in any great detail until I get it running and being able to do something with it. So we shall see. So that's where we are for now. The idea is to basically make an oval with a little bit of paneling on the sides. Let's see, just blowing through that hole there. And I used a very wide diameter rod in order to be able to, for me to be able to do that oval shape. So yeah, hopefully that's all going to work out well. I also left this on here. When I actually get down to it, it could well be that none of it will be left. I left it on just to see. Maybe there'll be a little bit there as a feature. Maybe literally just a little bit of it. We'll see how that goes. But looking at it, based on it being oval, the chances are it'll all be gone. I can't see that there'll be any left looking at it. Yeah, that's why I left it, Dorian. It is a nice plateau. But if you have a look, as I said, this is going to be this is just very rough, but it's going to be roughly something like that. And if you have a look over there, the ring is already higher than the plateau in most of it. So in order to get that, most of that's going to come off, if not all of it. But I just left it on with the off chance that there may be just a little bit of it might be a little feature. We'll see. You know, you kind of, if you're making a horn shape, it's got to be a horn shape, you know. There's no point in me sort of doing other shapes. So we have to see. I've got to first get the oval right and then take it from there. The drill worked out really well. Don't think I could have hoped for anything better. Right at the bottom there. Considering the angles, that's pretty awesome. Very happy with that. Yeah, that's what I was thinking, Boris. So what would happen is that the lowest bit of plateau might be left. The lowest, and you know, there is sort of a bit of a lower area here in the middle, which I'm hoping it might leave a little scar, but if it doesn't, I'm not going to cry about it. You know, I'm just going to plod on and get the shape that I want. Right, I'm going to visit the Queen for a minute, and then we'll get onto the shaping wheel. Excuse me. Okie dokes. Moonlighter. Come on. Check out my cigar rest. Now that is one cigar rest. James, this cigar is a beast. It's a huge cigar, 56 ring gauge. Smoked it for a good while yesterday and today. We'll have a few draws of the cigar, a couple of glugs of coffee, and we'll get onto the shaping well. Oh, another advantage of the metal lathe is cutting tenons. So as much as I get used to cutting on the wood lathe, when you're trying to cut something as precisely as a tenon, it's very hard. I've done it, but it's very hard. And to do it consistently, I think is virtually impossible. It's tasting really good. The good thing about it is that it doesn't give you a huge nick hit. I remember I smoked a Padron. I think it was a 60th anniversary, possibly, one of the family editions, and I'm trying to remember who I got that from, or if I bought it. I don't recall. It's a long time ago. It's going back maybe 4 years, something like that. Also, this kind of size cigar. You making me a pipe? Cool, nice one. Thanks, Josh. Go live. We want to hear you swearing and whacking your thumb with your hammer. Or see a fledgling fly. Thwack indeed. Anyway, so that cigar, that Padron, I think it took me 3 or 4 sessions to finish that cigar, and each time it knocked me for 6. Really big nicotine. It could be maybe it was my early days and I still wasn't big into nicotine, I don't know, but either way it knocked me for 6 each time, and I had to split it up over, I think, either 3 or 4 sessions. And in those days, I think my office was out here, actually. Way before I started even thinking about making pipes. I think my son was still in my office room, using it as the bedroom. And this was my office. I actually think this was my office. You'll see early on in the video, in my videos from a few years ago, all the videos take place in this room on my sort of garage table, which is outside now. I was actually thinking of getting a table tennis table. Rafi's getting into table tennis, so I was thinking of actually using that table you see out there, there's that table as a base, and just get some ply, cut it to size, and screw it to the table itself. They're a lot cheaper than buying a table tennis table. So I'm thinking of doing that. I haven't told him yet, but I'm thinking of doing it. We've been playing inside. I really like table tennis myself. As a youngster, I played it a lot. So we've been playing on the dining room table with no net, just with tissue boxes in the middle. You know, like in the old days, like in the good old days, you make do with what you've got. And then the next day you go on Amazon and order a net, you know. I haven't ordered the net yet. I might do that. That's a surprise for him. It's actually a very touching moment. My wife sent me a message that she'd got from it just basically, you know, you just never know what other people are going through in their lives. My son, we have a bunch of kids on the street, and they're in sort of in and out of each other's houses, and there's one in particular who comes here almost every day after school and plays with Rafi. And even if he's not playing with him, he'll just sit in the corner, take a comic and sit and read. He like feels totally at home. So he came over yesterday and he called and he said, can I bring somebody else over? So I said, yeah, sure, no problem. So he came over with another kid. So we had 3 kids here, and they had a great time. And then afterwards, the mother of that 3rd kid called up my wife and said, you got no idea what you did. My son's been struggling since the return after COVID. He's been really struggling with integrating back into school, with socializing with the other kids, and he's been having a very, very rough time of it. And it's the first time he came home with a smile and said he had a great time. And this woman was just so effusive with how grateful she was, what a difference it made to her son. You know, just out of the blue. It's unbelievable. You never know how you could have an effect on somebody else's day. It's really nice. I feel very proud of my son that he's, you know, just very happy to be friends with anybody, pretty much. Ooh, that looks nice, Josh. Can I show the rest of the family? Like this family. Can I show the group? That looks nice. There you go. That looks like a really nice apple. Good size. Very, very nice. Let's hope it, yeah. Let's hope the briar looks after you, as I put it always. Thank you, Josh. That's really nice of you. turns being the operative word, right? Although it looks like you've done your turning already. As soon as I take this band off, I think this split is going to continue up. We'll find out. We will find out. It's a pretty mild cigar. Has good flavors. Like I said yesterday, I think it is a bit young. There is a little bit of sort of a youth to it. But it has a nice sweetness to it. It has like a burnt sugar sweetness. But it's a very bright cigar in terms of flavor. Oops, that's the wife. Let's see what she wants. I actually got an email from the insurance company today about my roof, and they're basically saying that they can't quite validate the claim yet because I wasn't able to send them a picture of the roof before the damage, and they can't quite see the damage. And I sent them a picture of the actual roof sitting on the side of the workshop here, all broken and everything, but they didn't see it beforehand. So I sent them a message back saying, well, am I expected to take a photo of every possession that I own, just in case something happens to it? I haven't got a picture of what it was before, so what do you want from my life? So, I don't know. Am I expected to be able to send a picture from before? Hey, Alex. I don't know. I tried looking on Google Earth to going back through history, but they've got a new beta version of Google Earth, and you can't go back on it unless you've got the Pro, Google Earth Pro. Then I could go back and show it to them. I haven't got Google Earth Pro. Any of you guys got Google Earth Pro? Yeah, that was Rafi, Steve. That was Rafi. Unless it was my daughter, in which case it was Ellie. Might have been Ellie. They were both on yesterday. Well, if you do, Josh, when you have a minute, if you could go back in time before the tarpaulin was on, and you can somehow get a picture, even if it's not clear, but showing the plastic sliding roof in place next to the flat roof, that would be very helpful. So I could send it over to them. Right, let's make a pipe. Enough yammering. It's not what you're here for, is it? Let me flip you around. Hang on. Sorry if I make you dizzy. Which side do we want it? We want it that way. Yeah. Half a tick. Half a tick. We're getting there. He is getting there, man. There we go. Woo! Let's get my mask. It's possible, depends on the time of year, but yes, there are trees. There are trees around the garage. Yeah. you see my message? I sent you a message back. I'm just in the middle of. Yeah, that's all I've got. No, no. Oh, so you want another? Okay. All right, I'll find another 20. When is she? Right. And ask them to call you back in 10 minutes. Okay. All right. See you there. son just brought me in this letter. I appealed a parking ticket. I took my dad a couple of months ago to a hospital where he had the disabled sticker. He was allowed to park, but you were supposed to register your number plate in the hospital, and we forgot to do that. But we were displaying the disabled badge. Anyway, we got the ticket, I appealed it, and I just got the letter saying that they've cancelled it, so I'm very happy about that. I'm going to let my father know. I'll show you where I'm up to. This is where we're up to. I'm coming. So I went for this wider rod because I wanted to have this effect where I could go quite a bit way up the shank where it would be wide, and I think it has a really nice effect because rings are usually at the lower end of things, and made sure that the ring was actually an immediate sort of extension of that in terms of pattern, so you can see that the patterns follow up. Managed to keep a bit of plateau, yeah, I'm very happy with the progress so far. I have to carry on sculpting that. I was kind of thinking of taking this line all the way around and then going up and across and over and then down again, but I don't know. When you go too far, you end up risking messing things up, but I might still do it. Anyhow, I'm going to take a bit of a break now. Thanks for joining, and I will catch you all on the next one.